We're live. Hello. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you for watching us live on Facebook at Hollywood Matrimony and at YouTube at Hollywood Matrimony. Blech, I can't talk. Don't forget to go find us on the Instagram and the Twitter. Go look for Hollywood Matrimony. We're everywhere in the whole world because we're on the interweb at hollywoodmatrimony.com. Please take a moment to go like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, give stars, give little heart emojis, whatever it is that you do to let people know. Go do it right now. That's what I'm going to do because it tells me we're alive. So I'm going to go share. How about that?
How about that?
How about that? I'm going to come watch our show. Okay.
Hello, children.
Now my battery's low. So now what do I do?
Well, when your battery's low, you plug in your phone.
How do I do that in here?
You don't.
Post. Okay, I posted. I shared.
Wait.
I talked about it. All right. Let's talk about some movies. Whoop, whoop. Can I get a what?
Huh?
Say what?
What?
I said, can I get a what?
Oh, I wasn't going to.
Come on, babe.
I wasn't going to give you any what.
That's rude.
You didn't deserve it. You were being a bad kid.
Am I? I'm not doing anything. I'm ready to
And
discuss
that's what we needed to discuss.
some movies. What would you like to talk about today, good sir? We have a weird variety of movies.
Well, before that, I'll talk about this real quick.
Okay, and then I'll talk about this.
This isn't really on the list to talk about, but I figure I'll at least put it out there. Hold on, let me turn it off. All right. What was I saying?
I don't know what you're saying.
I just want to point out real fast because this set just got released for any of the big fans of iconic action adventure
Stuff.
Smacking Nazis.
Yeah.
Hating on snakes.
Yeah.
The supernatural.
The
aliens.
They're everywhere.
Chips, dips, chains, whips.
I don't think this is that movie.
Think about it.
Oh. Okay. Not the next part.
Paramount has just put out this all-new 4-movie collection of Indiana Jones, which you might think, why do we need another set of Indiana Jones? It's been released numerous times. This is 4K. It's put out for the first time in a nice 4K set. It's the, I think, 40th anniversary. And, ironically, they just started production on Indiana Jones 5.
Wow.
Yes, with Harrison Ford. And James Mangold, I believe is his name, is directing, who did Logan. So we got a nice thing. But
you know who I'm going to ask.
Shia LaBeouf is not in it, I don't believe, no.
Is Sean Patrick Flannery?
No. Why would Sean Patrick Flannery?
Because he was young Indiana Jones?
Yes. He was only young Indiana Jones on the TV show. River Phoenix was young Indiana Jones in the movie. So, but it's got this nice little open up thing here.
That's pretty cool.
It's got all the different relics that he hunts for in the movies. It's got him swinging on a whip that, in fact, does not work in real life. I can tell you from experience.
You tried to swing from a tree, didn't you?
Numerous times. I had a whip. I used to crack that thing all over the place, including my face.
Yeah.
It comes with this nice poster with all the posters on it and a cool little map that tells you like the little timeline of all the things that are going on.
Yeah.
So then you find out about how, what time they did what, where they went, when they did what.
Like timeline wise.
Yeah.
This is like me taking my notes when I watch movies.
Pretty much. Because if you, in case you didn't know, was that this one? Oh no. Hold on. I'm trying to find some real quick.
Silence, babe. Silence is not good when you're doing a TV show.
In case you didn't know, these movies are not in continuity order.
They're not?
You didn't know that?
No.
If I remember correctly, Temple of Doom actually takes place first.
Well, let's watch them in order.
Well, it's just a time frame of when he's having an adventure. The adventures don't connect together necessarily.
I understand that.
But I believe in the year it takes place, Temple of Doom takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh.
And if you also notice, Temple of Doom, there's also no Nazis in it.
Correct.
But there are Nazis in Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, which is one of my firm beliefs of why Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade stand up as two of the strongest entries in the film because they have Nazis to fight against.
You like hating on Nazis, don't you?
Everyone should.
I agree.
I like Temple of Doom, but I have realized after revisiting this series that Temple of Doom drives me crazy because Kate Capshaw cannot shut the fuck up. Pardon my French. She screams through that whole movie, and it's super annoying. And if I'm not mistaken, she married Steven Spielberg, and he took her away from Hollywood. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, sir. I like the last one with the aliens and Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, my problem.
I know it's a little weird.
Most
hokey.
people hate that movie, and I don't hate Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. My issue with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the same thing that's the problem with the original Batman franchise, the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher Batman movies. That movie comes off more like a cartoon than the rest of the indie movies. So that doesn't.
Yeah.
I enjoy it for what it is. And if I get Indiana Jones, I don't care if he's 105 years old or whatever. If I get to see Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford do their thing, I'm all in. I'm all in for Indiana Jones 5. Even though there's this whole thing going on today about people hating on it. And the director's already attacking them.
Good.
You know?
Fight back.
And of course then...
Make the movie you want to make.
But the problem is now, is what happens is now, of course, Kathleen Kennedy produces this one.
No, goodness. It's all her fault, right?
But guess what? Kathleen Kennedy produced these old ones too. So...
Y'all just need to know. She's in charge. Let it go.
It's just what it is. But I'm looking forward to the new one. An 800-year-old Harrison Ford playing Indiana Jones. I'm still all in. I don't care.
Okay. That's all that matters.
Yeah. That set is now available on the 4K for the first time. So they look beautiful. They look awesome. But if you don't want to buy those, they just added them all on Paramount Plus too. So you can watch them any way you want.
I want to watch that guy's face melt in 4K.
It looks awesome.
Does it?
From Raiders of the Lost Ark, it does. It looks glorious because it's done to that stop motion animation kind of vibe.
That's cool.
And I was worried it was going to come off really sweet, but it actually looks excellent.
Okay, I'm going to watch them all. Sounds good. Next,
All right.
Where do we want to go?
I don't care. Why don't you tell me one of yours?
I got
another one of mine I saw. You got one you've seen.
Yep, we're going to go in a completely kind of related direction in a way. With
it is because this has religious artifacts.
Correct.
Also, did you notice, speaking of religious artifacts, the two best in the franchise, Last Crusade and Raiders of the Lost, both deal with religious artifacts. Whereas the middle one's dealing with the cults and the stones and all that, and the last one's aliens. So
we're all over the place.
Maybe when you leave Nazis and you leave religious artifacts alone, maybe Indiana Jones don't work as well.
I guess. All right. So the next movie we're going to talk about is this one right here. It's called Resurrection.
Is it about Indiana Jones coming back to life?
It is not. It is about Jesus Christ of the Bible.
Is he a superstar in this one?
He is not. Oh. This is regular Jesus.
This is before he became a superstar?
Yes.
Okay.
So many of you may be familiar with the mini series that came out on TV several years ago called The Bible. It was produced by Roma Downey and Mark Burnett. Real life husband and wife. And in case you didn't know, they are very into their religion. They're super Catholic, and they wanted to do this. This was like a passion project that they put together. Following the success of the Bible miniseries, they came out with A.D. The Bible Continues. Now following...
Is that when they brought in ninjas and aliens and stuff?
Yes. Following the death and resurrection of Christ, now what happened afterwards. Okay. So this little film called Resurrection is actually a compilation of some of the episodes from A.D. The Bible Continues. So basically they took out some of the episodes or segments from that mini-series to make a whole separate movie.
So this is edited into a 2-hour
correct,
movie.
Based on just the story of the resurrection.
Could you try again?
Oh my gosh, Alexa, stop listening to me.
I've never understood. I mean, I guess financially is why they do this. So they try to sell it.
Correct.
But people do this all the time. They did this with the, well, there's a couple of martial arts things I did. There was a Legend of Bruce Lee series. There was an Asian series. Remember, you see me watch it with guys. It's a soap opera.
It is. It's awesome.
It is. It's all about Bruce Lee's life, and there's a lot of fights.
That song is the intro music for every episode.
And it's like, but they before that was released here, they edited it together into the Legend of Bruce Lee movie. Mm-hmm. They also did this with an unaired, you'll love this, Steven Seagal series. He had a network, supposed to be a network TV series. It was a cop series, not his reality series.
In the body.
Not when he was the actual
cop in the
officer,
body.
but this was a scripted series. It was about him and had these like young cops. It was like a task force kind of thing. and I don't know where it aired, but I never got to see it. Well, then they ended up took the episodes and they released all the series as 2-hour movies. So they took 2 episodes from each everything, built this franchise of movies, but they don't connect them. They never tell you.
It's all one thing.
Yeah, you just realize, man, they got the same cast for all these movies. And then you start realizing the same thing. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of my problem with this to begin with. So it feels like we're just dropped into the middle of stuff because we are.
Technically there's a resurrection. So.
I know, but the way it's edited together, it gives you just a little bit of like, Jesus did this, and then he went here, and then he was captured and tortured, and then he was killed. And then the story kind of picks up from there. But because we're dropped into the middle of 2 miniseries, like back-to-back big, long stories, a lot of the character development has already occurred. And so now we're just here with these people. We don't get a real introduction to who everyone is. You just kind of have to figure out, okay, well, this is Peter, this is whoever. What?
I'm acting like you,
Yes.
raising my hand. So, but let me ask you this, because I think I understand why they would do that for this.
Yes.
Because the audience that would watch this already knows.
Correct.
So,
but here's the thing. I
Okay.
didn't watch AD. I only watched the Bible. I didn't watch the second miniseries.
right, but you know the Bible.
I know the Bible. And that is my other problem with this.
Okay.
A lot of the happenings in this are out of order
So it's the Bible.
compared to if you read the Bible and you know the order of the happenings. This is a little bit out of order. Some of the characters, in an attempt to be non-stereotyped of where they're from and what they look like, don't necessarily fit, which, fine, whatever. I don't care about who you are and where you're from in the casting. But in some instances in the Bible, it makes a difference because it'll tell you specifically, like, this disciple was a black man, and that's important to the story. And this disciple was from this country, and so that's important to the story, specifically for some of the teachings and the lessons that the Bible wants us to learn about not being racist, about the word being for everyone. But in this one, you have to kind of catch up on who's who. That's one of my problems.
Do you think they tried to do it like the Bible, since the Bible is all over the place? And, like, you can't read the Bible from beginning to end and get a flat story. It's like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Correct.
So
now,
it's all over the place.
We do have one of my
Well,
many Bibles.
I get that. I'm
one
just
that's
saying.
in
I'm just
order.
talking about the generic Bible.
Yeah,
I know that
I
you
get
probably
it,
can find
but there are things.
Do you think that's what they were trying to do with the movie? Is try to tell it like the Bible tells it? I know it's not saying it's in the Bible.
I think
order.
they were trying to be just very dramatic with the storytelling. I think that's what it was. And then the other thing that I think, if you're not of the Catholic faith, at the very end, it throws just like everything Catholic at you. And it's
Did it throw young boys at you?
No. But I mean, it's like all of these saints, and then you're at what's the thing that we went to in Rome? Help me. The Vatican. I mean, it throws all. Thank you for not helping me.
Hold on, is this sign language for the Vatican?
Yes, because it's that round square where we walked around.
We walked around the entire wall of Vatican City.
And so it gives you
That is
a
not a
lot
good
of
plan.
that. No, don't do that. But it's okay. I mean, I applaud it for trying to bring the story of Jesus to a wider audience. And I think a lot of people, if you're into Roma Downey and Touched by an Angel, I get it. You watched it.
Did you feel resurrected by watching it?
I did not. A little, yeah, some of the characters just weren't as impactful. For me, if you want to get a more accurate portrayal and a really good story of Jesus and the resurrection, I would watch The Passion of the Christ. And don't get all hung up on Mel Gibson. It is a great movie. I know, but it is a great movie, and it's pretty much accurate, and it's a little bit bloody and all that, but I would prefer that. This is obviously the TV version. So anyways,
all right.
If you're into Mark Burnett, Roma Downey, and all their wonderful things,
where can we get it? When can we see it?
Well, you know what? It's available on Tuesday on the DVD and Blu-ray or whatever this is.
Yeah, it's a gigantic Blu-ray at top of it.
Blu-ray in the div.
And her lovely review will be posted this week.
Yes, it will. It's coming.
So if you like the rare writings from Miss D'Amiglio,
and you got the scoop right now because you already know what I think about the movie. So
Great. Now
There
they
you
will go
go.
to our website.
Yeah, go to our website anyway. You'll get more about my stuff and my
All right, what
religious
else we got?
teachings and why I'm very picky and strict about religious movies because I'm into the Bible, my friends. Like I'm into it.
Let me do my other one, and then
Yes,
we can go to
this
our
one.
two or three things together.
All right, here we
All
go.
right, so the next one is a martial arts flick, another one from Well Go USA, with a really bizarre name
Okay,
called
yeah.
Undercover Punch and Gun, which it annoys me to say that title. I think it's a stupid title.
I was like Punch Drunk.
No, it's Punch,
It's
and
Punch and Gun.
Which, here's the thing, is when I was doing research, as I do, watching some of these films and looking at who did fighting and who does this and this, I found out one of the original titles is Undercover versus Undercover. Makes way more sense from the story itself. Because it is. It's a bunch of people that are undercover and they're fighting each other or whatever. Anyway, stupid title aside, it's actually a fun flick.
Oh, good.
This
poster looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a...
As I eat on
it
the
reminds me of, very much so, of like Jackie Chan martial arts flicks. It had a vibe, a little bit of like Rumble in the Bronx, that kind of thing, where this one's got a little more serious tone, but it's got like some crazy gadget weapons, some crazy fighting. It's got some parkour for you in there.
Parkour!
It's got crazy characters. The voice dub's got some of the crazy voices. Not quite Chinese Super Ninja levels, but
they're fun.
That one. And even during the credits, it's got some of the bloopers and the fightings. And
I love that.
Things like this. So it's actually it's a fun action flick. It's not great. It's just one. Some of the fights are a little, I hate calling them choreographed, and because they're all the fights in all these movies are choreographed, but you can see them being choreographed. Yeah, so it's very one,
difficult.
2, 3.
It's difficult.
Yet there's
sometimes.
other ones that are just badass, and there's lots of cars driving over people and into things, and
that's my
there's
favorite.
Like there's this one chick who's supposed to be like this meth lab doctor or whatever, that she makes stuff, but she's supposed to be hip too, but she's like an old woman.
Yeah.
So she wears
it's like me trying to be
no. She's like grandma level old.
I'm a grandma.
I'm talking about like white hair and like, a lady that's probably in her 60s or 70s.
Oh, I'm not there yet, boo.
She's
no.
right there at the end.
No.
So. But she's wearing like the hip hop type clothes.
Nice.
And she's always like, but there's a whole thing with her trying to get away in a car and a guy that's chasing her, and he's riding on the top of the car, but then they go through like a warehouse, so then it turns into parkour stuff, so he's jumping up and he's flipping over things in the back of the car, and it's awesome. A lot of like stuff that's not necessary and ridiculous.
It's okay.
But at the end of the day, it's one of those movies that it's not great, but if you're a martial arts fan, you probably have a lot of fun of it and get the old school vibe of it. So I had a lot more fun than I anticipated. I was kind of dreading watching it because the trailer looked badass, and lately most of the martial art flick trailers I look at, they look awesome, and the movies are disappointing. This one, because of the old school nature, if you like those old Jackie Chan movies like Rumble in the Bronx and Operation Condor and that kind of stuff, it's kind of that vibe. So it's worth checking out, and it's one we're giving away on our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
So when we get to that part, we'll tell you again. But
that sounds fun.
Get you one. And it is available now on Blu-ray and DVD from Well Go USA, the premier Asian film distribution company.
They are good.
They're awesome. I love them. What we got next, sister?
All right. So next we are gonna go to
get off or whatever you
want to go here or here or there.
Get those three. Or do you want to just talk about that real fast?
Let's talk about this.
All right. So this next one's not so much of a movie, but it takes place in a movie universe, and it's yet another really popular, big wig anticipated thing that people have been waiting for. Is for the new series from Disney Plus, Loki. Now, obviously, like any Marvel thing, we can't tell you a lot because we can't spoil it.
No spoilers.
But what I will tell you is, following on the heels of Falcon, Winter Soldier, and WandaVision, it is yet a completely different vibe to the story.
Yes.
It's a completely different direction, if you will, where those two series, even if you haven't seen them, they deal with the aftermath of Endgame and what these characters are dealing with or how they evolve or whatever happens. This one is taking place and showing you, if you saw Endgame, there's a moment where, because you might say, how can Loki have a series if it's after Endgame? Because what happened to Loki in Endgame? If you don't know by now, sorry, it's been out for a long time. He died. But if you remember, in the time-traveling fun of it all, Loki escaped with the Tesseract.
Correct.
This series is all about where did Loki go?
Correct.
So we are now dealing with 2012 Loki, not current Loki. And that opens up a whole new can of worms of fun and excitement.
Yeah.
And based on just the first episode, I can tell you that this is my favorite of the 3 series.
Really?
So far. Now,
wow.
That remains to be seen by the time we get to the end.
Correct. It
but
may
just
take
the
a turn.
quirkiness of it all, adding Owen Wilson to the Marvel Universe.
I love me some Owen Wilson.
I do too.
Guys.
Adding him to the Marvel Universe, he was perfect for the Mobius character. And just the weirdness of this whole thing and how it connected, it just worked. Because it almost feels like not only the setup story of where he's going and what he's up to and what I guess they could potentially do with him in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's also it's like watching the TV shows when they a clip show. So you can tell the whole history of Loki in this one episode.
Yes.
So what did you think of this show?
I really liked it. I don't know who these characters are that you're talking about. I don't know what Moby it has to do with this. I mean, he seems like an angry musician.
Not Mobius.
I know. Don't know anything.
In the comic, I believe his name is
that.
Mobius and Mobius.
Well,
but anyway,
let's
go ahead.
see.
He deals with the same time stuff.
Okay. I had no idea there were time cops out there or time police.
And they are in the comics.
I didn't know any of that. So I'm like learning a lot, and I really do like it. I don't like Loki. I mean, but I think
you
that's
don't like
the
the
point.
character,
I
or
don't
you don't
like the
Tom
character.
Hiddleston?
I think a little bit of both.
Tom Hiddleston is awesome.
I'm gonna have to see something else with.
You're not supposed to like Loki though.
Okay,
that's
and I think
point.
that's the thing. They did a good job
Loki's
with that.
a pain in the ass.
But
he also does everything that you hate, which is causes chaos.
Yes, and I can't deal with any
that's
of that.
That's why the Lord of Mischief.
So I'm digging it so far. I'm not going to say it's my favorite yet of the 3. I enjoyed WandaVision because I like at the end how it turned out with the witch lady. But not spoiling that either. But I do like this. I love me Owen Wilson. I don't care what he does. So if he's in it, I'm going to love it.
But it's also nice because we haven't seen Owen Wilson in a while.
Correct.
You know,
it's like, what is he doing here suddenly?
I don't know about recently, so I'm not trying to say this, but I know he's had some substance issues or drinking or something. But I don't know if that had anything to do with recent. But he seems to show up and he's in everything, and then he's gone for a long period of time.
Love him.
It's so sad.
And then I like that this lady's in it, Juju.
Which one was she?
Juju and Rosh. So we've seen her before. She was the judge lady.
Oh, yes.
But we've seen her in some other fun stuff before. I'm remembering her in one of our TV shows.
Grimm or not Grimm.
Oh, I remember her in the movie Belle. She was good in that.
It wasn't Grimm. Oh.
It was one of those, though.
Sleepy Hollow?
Maybe. No, it wasn't that. I'll find
it.
It
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Love her.
She only has a small part, but she's really good in it.
But she's good, and I love her in anything that she's in. So there you go. It's a good show.
It is. And we're going to leave it at that.
Someone asked me today about watching it, and it was like, yes, you need to watch it.
Yes. And now, this one, you almost cannot have seen all the Marvel movies and watch this one because it gives you a recap. And throughout the show, it actually does the full history of Loki from the first time we see him all the way up until his untimely demise and kind of everything in between in a way that touch on
it catches you up, but without making you
hits, if you will.
Feel dumb. Because that's the other thing. When you give me like the dumbed down version, I hate that. But this one is smart.
It's clever.
It's clever on how they give you enough. And throughout the episode, they're showing like images and stuff of his life. And
it's for him. It's not. It's interesting because it's not written for the audience, even though it technically is.
Him.
It's written for the audience, but in the story, it's written for him.
Yes.
So he's experiencing because this is a character who hasn't experienced half of this stuff yet.
Correct.
So that's why that's not really a spoiler. I mean, it's the past, whatever.
Because it has to deal with time and your choices, how they can create different.
That was the other thing I liked. They do touch on. There's a connection. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there's an interesting connection to a future Marvel movie that also touches on timeline stuff. Which, if you know from Endgame and even Spider-Man: Far From Home. They've talked about multiverses and timeline changes and things like this. And so this actually explains kind of different levels and why this was okay and why this wasn't. But it also touches directly on something that's going to be coming soon in the universe, which if you didn't catch it, I'll tell you after.
Tell me later because I don't know any of these things. I'm just watching it like.
And all these things, I don't know how Loki is going to. I mean, I think Loki's going to have a massive effect on Phase 4 of the Marvel films. If I'm not mistaken, that's what I was hearing. And you can already kind of tell with dealing with time and with this version of Loki's floating out there, it's going to have a major impact. Where WandaVision kind of gave her character closure while setting up a new era.
Yep.
She's directly going towards the Doctor Strange movie coming up. That was already announced. The stuff with Falcon Winter Soldier, that's obviously involved those two characters, but we don't know really where they're going to go with all that yet.
Right.
Because there's no word on making season 2s of any of these shows. That's not the plan. They're one-off type shows right on these.
Right.
There's other stuff coming up like She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight. That kind of stuff I believe are meant to be like ongoing series, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So Loki's available now, and unlike the other shows that have been coming on that were Fridays, Loki is on Wednesdays. So the first episode's the only one that's up there. So this Wednesday we'll get another episode. So
who knew? We were like, "What? It's on Wednesday." We were confused. Okay, do you want to go here first?
Sure, why not?
And then there.
Whatever you say, boss.
We're going here. Okay.
All right.
Tell us what we're talking
about. Set us
about.
up, sister.
Oh, me? Good. We're talking about this movie. It is the film adaptation of the stage production In the Heights. It was originally written and created by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who many of you now know from Hamilton, but this was way before then. He wrote this when he was like 19, 20 years old. It made it to Broadway, won some Tony Awards. I mean, it was a big deal, and I think that's really what enabled him to get into doing the Hamilton thing and making that happen.
Which he's way more than Hamilton.
Yeah.
I hate, not that's your fault, but I hate that he's pigeonholed to Hamilton because that was his big break thing. But now he's married. No, I'm just saying, like, they got him the worldwide recognition.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd never heard of him before Hamilton, but because of Hamilton, yes, that's his big thing. But he's gone on and done music for Disney movies and
he was in Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. I mean, he's done a lot of other things. Like, he's kind of very Tyler Perry trajectory of his career.
Correct.
But in the music side.
Right. So, this is now the screen adaptation of the musical. So, for anyone who doesn't know, I just got to give a baseline. Okay. I love musicals. You do not.
Yes.
Let's just start there. Then you go ahead.
And this is another one that was supposed to come out last year. It got bumped because of the pandemic.
Correct.
Like almost every movie that we will see this year. I'm tired of saying that, but it's the facts. But so it got not only a theatrical release, but also the HBO Max release.
Correct.
Now, my issue with musicals is I don't hate music. I don't like people that talk to each other in song.
But why not?
Because it's annoying.
It's so awesome.
I like when...
And I lived my whole life that way.
Yes, and I don't like it. I live with a human being that sings to me when we're talking, and it's annoying. And if abusing spouse was not illegal, no, I'm just kidding.
I do that, so it
doesn't bother me. She does all the time. It drives me nuts. But she's also been in musical theater, and guess what? I went and saw all their dumbass shows.
Thank you.
And I sat through them. I even used the videography for some of their stupid shows. They were fine. But I just dislike music that doesn't have a point in the movie. So when you give me movies that the music is directly part of the story, I'm okay with. Like, I always use Dreamgirls as a prime example. There's other ones like that. Like Rocket Man's kind of that. Not really, but kind of.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I think that stuff works. I just don't like when I'm sitting with some guy sitting there and all of a sudden he's like, I want a Coke. I need a Coke. Where's the Coke? The cooler's broken. And I'm like, I don't care. This is so dumb. It's just like, one of my biggest gripes before we talk about this movie was with the musical episode of Buffy, right? The idea, genius, where it's this demon that forces everybody to sing.
Yes.
Right? The idea is super genius. The problem is they only let the people that could really sing.
Yeah.
And all the people that were bad singers, they kind of took them out of there. In the real world of that kind of idea, nobody should have been able to sing. That would have been genius. It was just bad singing and uncomfortable singing, then I would have been like, this is a genius episode. But instead, no, they're like, hey, let's make everybody sing. They did that with The Flash, too, if I'm not saying. They did a musical episode. It was trash, too. Just dumb. Dumb. All right, let's talk about this movie.
All righty, then. So, The movie follows Uznavi, who is the Hispanic young man on your screen.
People in Avatar?
Yes. And basically, he's a shop owner. He's saving every penny he has because he wants to go back to the Dominican Republic.
Which we've been there.
Yes. And it's safe. We did not get kidnapped or nothing bad happened. No, and he wants to open up his dad's beachside bar that he used to have. That's his dream in life, just to get back home. And then the rest of these characters, there's one girl who's the first girl in the neighborhood to make it to college. The other guy kind of runs a community help thing. And then this one other girl wants to be a fashion designer. So everyone's kind of dealing with their individual stories. Now, they are all in the Washington Heights neighborhood in New York. And just this small little community of people from other countries, mostly Latin American countries. And
it's during the sweltering summer heat.
Yes.
And a lot of it takes place during one of the many blackouts they usually have during that time.
And it's just dealing with these people who have these big dreams, but who don't come from much. And how do we get to that dream? So how do we make it a reality? Exactly. The interesting thing, though, is we get it through some of the storytelling is just dealing with the fact that sometimes when you have these dreams, you're like the only one of you. Like you're not represented in the world you're trying to break into.
Yeah.
Interesting statistic in the United States, Latinos make up 4% of managers in a company. So I'm part of a 4% group. So when you think about,
you complain that you have every other job.
I know. No, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying you got to understand that in this movie and in this sense, when you're a Latino, Latinx, Hispanic, Mexican, Chicano, whatever you want to call yourself now, that when you're trying to get like this one girl in the fashion industry or this one girl going to an elite school, you know, you may be the only one of you in that group. Yeah. And how do you deal with that? I mean, especially in this day and age where everyone's like, oh, we need diversity and inclusion and all that. And just the other day at work, we were having this thing about being your authentic self or forced fitting in. I'm like, I have to force fit in. I am the only one of me.
Thing's evil.
In my whole group. That's the other one. That's the other one. And it's bigger. But so, I mean, dealing with kind of those issues is what the underlying thing was to me. I don't know what you got out of it.
There's a lot of people singing all the time.
From your perspective as a white dude in America. That's why I like this show, because we get to talk about these things.
I will say this. I enjoyed this movie.
Yay!
There are some of the songs I found annoying and not very good. There were more of them that worked. I think the reason it worked, that I enjoyed it, was because it felt more like a celebration than a lot of the annoying conversing singing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there's those songs that they do in musicals that are just, it's like listening to your mariachi music we talk about too, where the people sing and it's not really the beat of the music and they talk.
But it is.
And they do stuff and it's like they go up and down an octave so they can say a word or they can sing a word that doesn't really fit to what they were doing. So they go on this big thing and all of a sudden it's this. Which I liked about this is even though they're doing that, it had that Hamilton vibe. And I think Hamilton's trash, so just so you know. But this had that same hip-hop flair with the singing, the storytelling all kind of meshed in a way that felt like a party.
Well, a lot of the music was inspired, I think, by Spanish style.
Well, yeah, and you could feel it. That's what I'm saying. It felt like a celebration of their cultures. Even the sad stuff was kind of still a celebration of what their lives and what they wanted to do, and it didn't feel monotonous. It didn't feel like just like another song. Like that's what I get out of most musicals. It's like, oh my god, they're gonna sing again. And like in this case, you see them fixing to sing again, but there's so much diversity to what they bring to every song, even the ones I don't like, that it's still entertaining. And I think it helps that it's the kind of movie we probably need right now because everything has been so kind of drab and depressing and sad in the world. This one's very bright and vibrant and uplifting, even though it has some sad turns.
Yeah.
in majority of the film, you kind of want to, dance, or you want to sing, or you want to tap your toes, or it's just a visual feast for the senses of all the stuff that's happening. Because like some of their dance numbers and some of the stuff they do, it feels like flash mobs instead of actual productions.
Yes.
Which I know a flash mob is still a production, but it had a different tone that worked for me. Like, even though, like I said, there are some of those music I didn't like that was annoying me.
Yeah, it's
but
okay.
as a whole, but I really like, and it's another one of those things that for this movie, or this play and story to be as old as it is, for it to be sadly so relevant now, even more so.
Yeah.
It just makes it, I think, even a stronger thing, because it touches on so many things. But like you were talking about the race situation of being Hispanic, of trying to get out of this, and dreams and family, what's important, and schooling, and people trying to give up everything for somebody else's dream. And it deals with all that stuff, but never feels like it's trying to force it down your throat.
Correct.
So
it's just describing the reality of some.
I can't say I would ever watch it again. But like Greatest Showman's another one I really like.
This is the Greatest Showman.
I really like that movie. Despite
I do too. I would watch that again.
Storyline of the character.
Yeah, it's a little bit not true, but that's
I still
okay.
like that movie.
Anyways, I just thought this was a good movie. I think it's an important movie. I hope everyone will see it. If you haven't seen the show, it was cool that we talked to our friend Wendy. She'd seen the show, so I'm curious once she watches the movie what she thinks, just to kind of get a feel for.
And I will say we watched it at home on HBO Max, and I really did not want to go to the theater and watch this because I didn't really want to watch this. But I think it's a movie you need to watch in the theater because it deserves to be big and loud, and there's a number about $96 or whatever it is that they did as a trailer, and they showed you the whole trailer. It annoyed me to no end when we saw the trailer. I'm like, shut up! Nobody cares about your $96. But in the movie, it makes a little better context when it's fused together. Still an annoying number, but it fits better.
Yeah, I thought about whether we should see it at the theater or at home. And I think the thing I liked about watching it at home was we had the subtitles.
Well, for me,
no, even for me, because sometimes when people are singing, you can't understand everything they're saying.
Well, because I get you those big monstrosities.
Well, no, and that was one of the things that our friend Wendy said, is they also saw Hamilton in New York. And that was one of the things she mentions. You can't understand everything they're saying. So in that sense, I kind of like when musicals come to the screen, so I can like turn subtitles on and understand it all, because I think it's important. Especially this one, if you're not a native Spanish speaker, there are a lot of lines and songs, parts
all
in
Spanish
Spanish.
Speakers native?
Yes, technically we are, and thank you for the conquistadors for taking our numbers from 7.3 million down to like 3 in a generation.
Did you say how I feel Mr. Roper moment in there too?
Anyways, that gets me to a whole other movie. You need to go watch Latin History for Dummies.
That again?
I'm sorry, that is like the most impactful movie.
Did you see? I follow him, but I don't know if he's on. Did you see him yelling at Texas?
No, what did we do now?
He was yelling at Texas something about.
Sorry, we're sorry.
Oh crap! I commented too. Dang it! Now
did you say sorry?
It was something. It was about schools not teaching real history. And
no, we don't.
And he goes, "Good on you, Texas, for taking more out of the history books." And
it's never in there. Who's going to want to teach your kids that there were 7 million indigenous peoples, the Incas, the Mayans, the Aztecs, all through this continent, and in a generation we went down to 3 million? Who wants to teach that? And then bring into that slavery, because there were slaves all over here.
Slavery didn't ever happen.
I know, that didn't happen. The Holocaust didn't happen. Nazis weren't real. Who knows? They're in space.
And God would never create any kind of a plague or a disease to wipe out people.
That's the newest thing.
That's the newest thing. That genius of a woman.
Weirdo.
Anyways, someone who's super Christian clearly hasn't read the Bible, because the entire Bible is full of Jesus wiping out people.
He does that.
Not Jesus, but
God. Big God. Thank you.
Big God. Not little God. Big God.
Yeah.
There's big God, little God, and Jesus.
There's God, then there's Jesus.
Little God is just the one that shows up to like smite you from time to time. Big God destroys Earth.
Correct. Anyways, you need to see the movie In the Heights. It's in theaters now. It's on HBO Max.
For 30 days.
There are many opportunities for you to watch it. If you're not into musicals, get over it. You're going to like it. I promise. It's got a lot of flavor.
As someone who doesn't like musicals, it's uplifting. It's fun. it's worth checking out at least once. Thank you.
And it really does center just around these people and their culture and what does it mean to be
And
home.
I do want to say that what's her name, the one that plays the old lady.
I love
she
her.
steals every scene she's in. She steals it. So
Abuelita.
I hope she gets nominated for something for that.
Olga Meredith.
Yeah, she's really, really good. She's always good, but she's really good in this movie. And she has probably one of the most, even though her song didn't really hit me as much, the scene itself is probably one of the most impactful moments of the whole movie.
And let's talk about this, because you were like, does he really look like
Mark
that?
Anthony.
Mark Anthony is very
He's only in one scene in the whole movie,
bony.
and he looks like a crackhead.
And that was the point in this one, but he is very skinny.
I know he's always just been a small man, but he looked like a crackhead in this movie. But he's supposed to be an alcoholic or something.
Yeah, he's something.
I don't think they ever say, but I think it's implied. Or is it even implied and we just assume?
It's implied. Okay. No, and he does. He grabs his bottle. Anyways, I do like that we actually went with an ethnic cast. So thank you for doing that part correctly. And then the other thing that this is about, which I think will appeal to everyone, no matter where you're from, is the idea of what is home and what does it mean to be at home. Because a lot of these people are from Cuba, Puerto Rico, wherever, where they were escaping to come here. And I'm not going to get into the whole illegal immigration thing, but some people are trying to get here to escape bad situations.
I'm waiting to start hearing about people escaping from here to go back because it's so racist and crazy here now. Why do people even want to come here now? It's like
there are a couple of countries I would probably go live in.
I'd live in Thailand in a heartbeat.
I know, and they would be nice. We can't actually own property there because we're not from there. And that is what they should do. Yes, I looked it up because I was like, we're going to go live in Thailand.
You could buy a house or something, right?
Nope. You cannot buy property.
You have to live there a certain amount of time?
No.
Certain amount of time before you can buy it?
Nope.
Oh.
Not at all because we are not from there. That is how they control their immigration.
Makes total sense.
You can rent or you can do like a timeshare situation, but you cannot legally own a home. So we would have to rent a place, like long-term rental, which I'm fine with that too.
I wonder how all these people that move there and live there the rest of their lives. I guess they rent forever.
I guess you rent.
Or they find someone to hook up with that can buy it.
Yeah. I mean, but why would you want to? Why would you, just rent a house and be done with it. It's a lower cost of living.
I'm sure there's got to be some way of being able to do it eventually after you're there a certain amount of time or vesting or something.
So why don't we do that here? Like if you're not from here. There
are so many solutions to immigration, but nobody will do it because that isn't.
Or you scan everyone when they get here, and then for the people that come in legally and then don't leave, go find them. You have to put on your form where you're staying and a number.
There's so many options to easily solve immigration problems, and none of them involve a wall.
Well, because now our Texas governor is going to build the wall. I'm like, good job. They're still going to come in because there are tunnels, buddy. What are you going to do with that?
Have you seen? We haven't seen it in a while, but there were so many interviews of just Hispanic interviews of like people laughing about the building of the walls.
We'll get over the wall.
Like they'll climb walls, they'll dig under them, they'll tunnel around them, they go through the water. There's ways around everything. A wall is not going to stop anything.
No, we need actual immigration rules and laws.
And both of us, you're Hispanic, but we're both all for legal immigration.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's one of the big issues. Not to go on to this tangent, but
we're going anyway.
But I think there's a big misconception of we don't want to build a wall, so you must be fine with welcoming in all these illegal people.
Oh, no.
No, I still think immigration should be done the proper way. I think citizenship, but they also should make it more, not easier, but more available to become a citizen. Because it's, for people that can come over here and do it, yes, it's easy to do, it's long term. But for people that don't speak English or whatever, it's a hard process. And I'm not saying it should be an easy process, but it should be one that's readily available, that you don't have to have shit tons of money, and because a lot of those people have to pay a lot of money to get to that point. But there's ways to solve it. It'll never get solved. Why? Because then it would take money out of the pockets of those rich fat cats in the government that care about all of us all the time.
Because there's an easy way. If you just follow some of the guidelines and things that other countries do, like do what Canada does. I mean, they have it's not as lengthy process as ours, but there's a process and it gets done. I mean,
it's interesting. If you've never traveled internationally, it's interesting because I remember the first time I traveled out of the country, being on the flights and them handing us the forms for
visa
forms and all this stuff going in, and your passports and everything
How
else.
long will you be here?
Yeah, it asked me all these detailed questions. Every country I've ever been to, except here.
Correct.
When I land here, you just leave. There's no questions. They don't say when we land, okay, if you're coming to the U.S. for the first time, here's your visa paperwork you need to fill out. That should be the same thing on every single international flight where you land. And when you go through the immigration process or whatever, it should
I
be
need
the
to
same
grab
thing.
a form the next time we come here, like land back here from somewhere international, and see what the form says. Because I know when you go somewhere else, it's like, where are you staying?
Yeah.
Who's the name of a person that's closest that you're visiting, and what is their phone number? Like, you have to have all
get
this.
interviewed.
Yeah. Like, why are you here?
I remember getting booped out of the line because they didn't give me the information of where I was going and who I was staying with.
Was that me?
No, it was in Singapore.
I was like, I tried to give you all that.
And I was trying to get a hold of him, my friend, and I couldn't. And I was like, I finally went back to the line. I was online trying to message him on Facebook in the lobby of the fucking immigration, and I couldn't get a hold of him. And I finally walked back up and I said, look, dude, I said, I'm going to stay with a friend. I'm going to be here for 3 days. Then I'm flying. Here's my flight. I'm flying to Thailand after this.
I'm not
here
saying.
for friends, just hanging out with a friend. Here's his name. Look, I was like, here's his Facebook page.
Yeah.
And the guy's finally like, he laughed at me. He's like, okay, go ahead, man.
They're very nice. That's the other thing I like about other countries' immigration officers. They're very nice.
Yes.
Actually.
Everybody works.
It's a little intimidating. And even like the meanest place to me is going through London, where the lady's yelling at you like, if you're in there, go this line. No, go to this line. Go to this line. Grab a baggie. And they're yelling at you. But even there, I mean, they were super nice.
They're like, have a nice day.
Yeah, because we were just staying, like one time for Brittany, we were just staying overnight, and our flight was the next day. And you're like, where are you staying and all this? And like, well, where's your luggage? I'm like, I just left it on the flight because I didn't want to carry it and then carry it back. They're like, okay. So, I mean, they ask questions. They want to know, okay, if you're here, how do you don't have luggage?
That's crazy.
Anyway.
All this spins around from In the Heights in theaters now. And on HBO Max. A musical about a Hispanic Latin culture.
See, and people agree that help with the subtitles for the Spanish. I don't need the subtitles for Spanish. I need the subtitles for the English.
I need
sometimes these people mumble.
I need subtitles in life. People need to wear a little thing around their neck that just has little subtitles.
The little closed caption thing?
Yeah, they just scrolls across their chest while I'm talking to them.
Well, you know what the funny thing is? Right now, if you go watch, just slide through our show like on Facebook, don't turn the sound on. Just do the preview window. It subtitles it for us. And sometimes it said, instead of Hollywood Matrimony, it said Hollywood Money. And I was like, oh, yeah, show us the Hollywood money. But now I know I need to enunciate.
We got one more.
Sorry, we're just talking.
You're supposed to have learned that from A Quiet Place too, that you need to enunciate for me to hear.
I'm enunciating.
I'm going to start doing that too, like she did too. It'd be like.
Sorry.
Every time that's when we'll start doing that too. I'm going to come walking up to you when you're trying to.
Lord.
This woman tries to talk to me from the other side of our house from a closet. Where
I can hear.
Where normal human can't hear.
Yes, they can.
No, you can't.
I can.
No, you can't, because I say something, then you're like, what? And she gets all mad when she can't hear me. But then when I can't hear her, she's all mad.
I get all mad too. I'm always mad.
I have a disability, sister.
Oh Lord, you are a disability.
I am a disability.
All right, let's talk about our next movie.
All right, so this next one kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah, I had no idea this was even coming out.
It's a movie called Infinite, and it's weird, is because it's directed by Antoine Fuqua. Antoine Fuqua, who did the Equalizer movies, Training Day. I forgot what the other one was. Anyway, I love Antoine Fuqua's films. They're kind of gritty and they're all kind of different stuff. But this one's him. It's Mark Wahlberg. They reteamed. He also did Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. So this is them reteaming together.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
That's right. You got Dylan O'Brien, who I always love.
Love him. I didn't even know he was in that.
I didn't either.
And I was like, oh.
And then
love him.
Chilawale Walla Walla 4.
Also known as Chiwetel 4.
Yeah, he's
I
in it
learned
as well.
that one.
Jason Mantzoukas, who is the scientist guy that we like.
Yeah. Oh, he is so fun.
So after doing some research, I did find out this is yet another pandemic disaster. It was due to come out in August of last year, but because of the pandemic and the theater stuff, it ended up getting released straight to Paramount Plus. So this is not a theatrical release. This is only a Paramount Plus exclusive original film now, which is probably better for the film itself. I was looking forward to it when a trailer suddenly came out, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later the movie was out. There wasn't a big push on it. So the basic premise of the film, how do we put it without spoiling it? It's about reincarnation of sorts.
Yes.
It's kind of got a Matrix vibe.
Yes.
It's kind of a sci-fi action amalgam film.
Yeah.
Is that close
So
enough?
it's based on a book called The Reincarnation Papers. So that's kind of where what you need to
So
know.
you're following the guy, Mark Wahlberg's character, who has struggled with mental illness his whole life.
Correct.
And it's very much like the Neo situation where he suddenly he has these visions and sees things, but just because he thinks he's crazy, but there's more to it.
Dun, dun,
And then,
dun.
so somebody comes to him, and then somebody else comes to him, so you got to find out who's good, who's bad, what he's fighting for, why is he fighting, what they're looking for, and all that element. It's very Matrix-like. It's very kind of a by the numbers mentality of story of there's these characters, they try to get this one thing and let's fight to get it.
Yes.
And then there's a lot of history and stuff like that.
A lot of
So
things in his brain.
There's a lot of most of the movie is about him trying to remember who he is. There's the flashbacks of what connections of the histories and all that stuff. Go ahead.
Now, my random question for you, just kind of based on this movie, but also just real life.
She's going to say, do you believe in reincarnation?
Do you? And have you ever had a dream that you were in a past life?
I have weird ass dreams all the time about all kinds of things. I once dreamed I was a taco.
What kind of taco?
I was just the meat in the shell, and I was just chilling out. And,
No lettuce and
I
tomatoes?
was concerned someone was about to eat me.
Oh, okay.
And I woke up, and I was highly concerned about my hunger, but I wanted a taco at that moment.
Well, of course, you were doing about tacos.
I also had and you've heard about this dream. I once had a dream when I was younger, not child, as an adult, but years ago, about a gigantic egg beater chasing me through a bowl of Fruit Loops.
Mm-hmm. I don't even.
And
know.
I'm talking about an egg beater, those cranky kind.
Yeah, that's I.
It
got
was rolling. It was like, "Rah!" And I was in a bowl of Fruit Loops, like swimming. It was Fruit Loops were flying. I don't have any idea what it meant, but it was a drawing I've been meaning to do for years. Anyway, so
Okay, then.
What did you think of this film?
Okay, I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was good. It wasn't what I expect from a Mark. I typically expect Mark Wahlberg to be like this big, dramatic, either true story or some epic fight thing. I think because I'm used to him doing those movies where Transformers, or the one where he triumphs over the shooter in the street, like those kinds of movies.
That's what he's been doing more lately. Though.
Correct.
So,
but I liked this. I really did.
I enjoyed this, but I had a problem.
What was your
problem?
problem?
I want to throw this idea
Okay,
to you.
throw it at me and see if I get it.
It's not going to make a lot of sense to you guys because you haven't seen the movie and I don't want to spoil it.
Maybe they did see the movie.
Well, they maybe if you did, it'll make
You'll
sense.
Get it.
Okay.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. But to you, I want you to think. So think about one of my problems with this film is, despite being a fan of Wahlberg and a fan of Antoine Fuqua and everybody else in the cast, I felt Mark Wahlberg didn't fit this role. But think about the discussions of his personality and the other variation they discuss about him, right? Mm-hmm. I think that they should have switched the roles of him and Dylan O'Brien on placement.
That would.
Do you understand what I'm saying about that?
That would have made more sense.
It would have made total sense from visual,
yes,
and character-wise.
And correct. And I think because with Dylan O'Brien, we've seen him have a little bit of that confused what's going on.
He's had the quirky mentality of Styles and Teen Wolf.
Correct. No, but in that movie, the other movie.
I know, but I'm saying, but then you take him to like American Assassin or whatever that movie was called.
Yes.
And then Maze Runners, and
I'm thinking Maze Runners.
He can carry action well.
He can.
But he's still got that young look to him.
And I think he would be a little bit more believable in the, I don't know what's happening.
Well, and I think
I agree. That's a good idea.
I think Wahlberg's character was or Wahlberg's look, his persona, the way he delivers it was good, but he fit more that mentality, that rough, rugged, badass mentality that they keep referring to.
Yeah.
Where his version that we're seeing now is the more lighthearted, confused, as you said.
That's correct. That would have been
flipped
good.
him, I think it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But
that's
I also understand in Hollywood, Wahlberg is a bigger name than Brian.
But I like him.
I do too. I think he's excellent.
I love that
kid.
He is good.
I think he proved with American Assassin or whatever that movie's called. Is that what it's called?
I think so.
It is. He proved that he could carry an action film really well. And I would hope to see more of him. He's got a very small role in this movie, but it's very important.
Yeah,
to the rest of the story.
It is. He starts off our whole movie.
I do think the story gets a little convoluted sometimes, not in a way that doesn't make sense, but just it's trying to give us so much. It's kind of sometimes it feels rushed. Sometimes it feels rushed trying to give us stuff. Sometimes it works. There's just a lot of things happening.
There's a lot. I mean, and I think when you're dealing with anything reincarnation-wise and past lives and all those, it is a lot because depending on who your character is in the story, you could have lived 5 times or you could have lived 100. And so trying to bring all that to our present day in some sort of a cohesive way that makes sense for us as a viewer is a little bit different, because in this particular world, those people who have that ability are always connected. Yeah. So then that's an even bigger level than just I'm reincarnated. It's like I do, but you do too, and we always find each other. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. But you have to kind of get into that. And then there was this other thing that I felt kind of got dropped off to the side, was some people have special powers. And I don't feel like we explored that
I don't
enough.
even know if there were powers.
That's how it started. That was the intro paragraph.
Yeah, it was interesting. It made a reference that some people have more control. Again, very Neo-like. Yeah. But they don't really tell you kind of what it is. It's not even part of the story. No. It just you see it in this part of the movie, and then you see it in this part of the movie, and you're like, okay, that person has it.
I feel like I told you when we were watching this, I feel like there's a lot more because it's a book. Yeah. And when you take things from a book and make it into a movie, you lose a lot. So I'm wondering if this should have been more than one or a series, at least 2.
Well, they clearly did the end of it and kind of set up
I know, but
a universe, but not in a way that it's guaranteed a sequel, because it's not a universe with the same cast.
We could sequel it, we could prequel it, and I think we'd get more.
I think I would rather see the prequel, because then we get more Dylan O'Brien.
And others.
And then see who they made before that.
I mean,
and then probably be like, well, they should have switched them to now.
It was interesting. I mean, I liked it. It was fine.
Yeah, it was. Now, I will say the action in the movie is badass.
That was good.
There was like tons of car chases and shootouts and fight scenes.
And there's sword fighting.
And it's over the top sometimes. There's an entire car chase scene through the middle of a building in a very Fast and Furious-like scenario. But they're driving through like the police precinct, through the jail cells. It's like all over the place. It's badass to watch. So the movie's worth checking out just for the action parts alone, even if the rest of the movie kind of annoys you. It's not doing well as far as critics.
Oh, but well, I'm telling you, because it feels like we're missing some stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's missing stuff, but I guarantee if we had flipped those 2 characters, I think it would have been a way better movie. It was just personality.
A little bit more engaging.
Yeah.
Engaged. Some other great people was Toby Jones, who I like him. He's a cool little dude. I like this lady Liz Carr. She's
the one that's like
she's a character, and she shows up in a she's a lady in a wheelchair in real life, and she shows up, and I don't know what her particular disease happens to be.
She's an advocate for that kind of stuff now.
Yeah, but she's a disabled person, but she's a cool actress. So she was a lawyer. She's a lawyer who then worked as an advocate for disabled people, trying to make sure that they were in real life. And then in the movie, she shows up. And I love that we don't say a dang thing about why she's in a wheelchair in this life or whatever. And there's one
she's
line,
also kind of malformed.
Yeah, she like
whatever her disability
is. I didn't research.
Yeah, I don't mean that in a rude way,
but
whatever her disability is, she's not proportioned really well.
Yeah,
and it clearly looks like some joint issues.
But I like that we don't even get into it because it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And even in real life, it shouldn't matter.
When we're watching, I immediately looked her up. I was I want to know who this person is because
she's so cool.
Is it? Is she really in the wheelchair? I wanted to know. I wanted to know what she does. Is this her first movie? And I know it's probably mean to say, oh, well, because of her disability, I want to know more about it.
I mean, we don't see a lot of people like that. Yeah, so I liked it. And there's one line in the movie where she's like, I may look frail, but that doesn't matter, because that's the thing is, like Yoda said, you cannot judge people by their size. Because this lady was like in charge of this whole facility of people. So I liked her. And then there's this other guy that had that whole Viking thing going on.
Yeah, I like that guy.
His name is Johannes Hakur Johannesson. He is from Iceland. He's like for real Viking. And he is so cool. He's like big. He got that mustache. And I'm like, you are
He has a
coolest.
beard.
Oh, sorry, a beard. Sorry, he's got this big beard. He's all big and buff. And I'm like, I like this dude. I love.
Like, see, he's a character when he grabbed an axe, you believe he knew what he was doing with it.
But see, I noticed those people, like the little smaller people and then the big people.
Yeah.
I noticed those things, and those were two of my favorite people. And then Chiwetel Ejiofor. He's good in everything, man.
He is. He's good. He's the only one getting praise out of this movie from the critics.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if anybody else is saying about the supporting cast, but in relation to
you know what? He's
everybody's
cool.
talking about how great he is, but the movie is trash.
He's cool.
Anyway,
it's fine.
The movie Infinite, Antoine Fuqua, Mark Wahlberg, Chiwetel
Ejiofor
is available now on Paramount Plus exclusively. Now, I will tell you this. If you don't have Paramount Plus and you miss out, have no fear. Paramount will usually still release them on Blu-ray and DVD eventually, so I'm sure it'll get a release of some sort.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry.
So moving on. So is it my turn to talk about this something?
I was going to say it's free on TV, but I guess you have to pay for Paramount.
You got to pay for the streaming.
Okay, sorry.
But it's worth it because Paramount has a ton of awesome stuff. It's got all the SpongeBob. It's got all it's got tons. I'm finding, going through all these streaming services, I was a little against streaming early on, but I'm getting to the point of not only are you finding all the shows that you want to watch, and that's random new movies, and the reason you want to watch it. There's so many like old school things. Like I'm finding these old school samurai flicks. I found this movie Crying Freeman, which is a Mark Dacascos movie that's based on an anime that I've never seen because I never saw it commercially released. It is on Amazon Prime.
That's cool.
I have it on VHS now too that I got from a friend that had a bootleg of it, but I don't have a VCR to watch it.
Yeah.
But and that's the movie he met his real life wife on. Was totally not related to the story.
I mean, I like I can watch I Love Lucy, The Lucy Show. There's everything.
China O'Brien 1 and 2 are on there.
All of the nannies on there, which I do have. But
that's trash.
I know, but like so many cool older things like that we grew up with, it's on there.
Well, and that's what's cool about like stuff like Paramount Plus and things is they're throwing their entire catalog of series on there, not just. Like on some of the streamings, you only can watch.
I can go watch all Star Trek.
One season,
like ever.
Yeah. They just put every single Star Trek movie is now on there.
Like
all the series
all of them,
are on
all
there.
the different series, like any of them. So I can
and we
go
pay
get
for
caught up.
This is not a paid promotion. We pay for the show.
I can go get
in fact, they
caught
charged
up
me today.
on
I was very
Deep
upset.
Space
I was
Nine
not ready for a charge today.
Janeway and who's your favorite Star Trek captain? Scott Bakula.
I was going to say that as a joke, but no. I don't have a favorite captain.
I love me some Picard.
Because I am not a big Star Trek fan. I like Star Trek. I love the movies. I love the shows and stuff, but I'm just not that invested. If I had to pick Picard only because...
She's got her bun.
Picard because he was kind of like... He's just like Kirk, but he's more mellow. He's not... Like Kirk and Picard, in my opinion, some people may have different opinions. Kirk was the one that would get the ladies and whoop your ass.
Yeah.
Picard could get the ladies, but he would think his way out of a situation. You put the two together, and they made him the perfect captain. But,
his new show's dead.
But I just like Patrick Stewart. He's a great actor. I do too. I think what's-his-face from Deep Space Nine was probably a better captain.
Oh, yeah.
The guy that played Hawk on whatever his name is.
But now,
badass.
This new season of Picard, I know I'm going to be stressed out already. But now I got to go watch all the episodes that have. I have to go watch all the episodes that have that character in it, and I'm going to be so annoyed because I hated that.
Why do you have to go watch it?
Because he's in the new series.
I know. Why do you got to go watch it?
So I can be up to date on all of it.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the other thing.
So coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this week.
We digress.
Speaking of Star Trek, nothing
Star
Trek.
Who's your favorite Star Trek captain? There you
go. Chris Pine. All right. This week we have Last Action Hero. The Arnold Schwarzenegger film is getting the 4K release.
Nice.
Gattaca's getting the 4K release.
I love that movie. I love Gattaca. Sorry. I got really excited.
This maybe it's just because I haven't been focusing on the franchise anymore because we don't have AMC, so I catch when they hit Netflix. But the Walking Dead World Beyond Season 1 is coming out, which is one of their new spin-off shows.
Oh, I hope it's good.
Because you have Fear the Walking Dead, you have Walking Dead. Now I believe this is about kids that were born during the time of Walking Dead.
Oh.
Not necessarily from that show, but just grew up during
general.
the zombie apocalypse. I believe that's what it is.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me because I haven't seen it. The Great War of Archimedes is coming out. Nobody, which is awesome.
Great movie.
Awesome. Bob Odenkirk flick that came out during pandemic times. Also, Godzilla versus Kong is coming out, which I absolutely loved. But they are also releasing a MonsterVerse 3 film collection that has Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla King of Monsters, and Kong Skull Island. So it's an interesting collection. Cool. I don't know why they did 3 instead of 4, because there's still Godzilla that's part of that same arc. But those are ones we've all probably done better than regular Godzilla. So, and then the other kind of big one that we'll probably talk about next week is the movie Voyagers that we never got to. We kept talking about going to see it, we never got to.
Because it's got your man crush in it.
Colin Farrell in it, Ty Sheridan, Lily Rose Depp. So it's kind of sort of got him in it too. His loins, Johnny Depp's loins are in it. So that's almost the same.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that. So that's pretty much next week.
All right. Coming out at theaters or online. So starting off on Tuesday, there is a movie coming out on video demand and digital called American Badger. It's about a hitman who befriends a girl, but then she becomes
into a badger.
She becomes the mark he has to take out.
She turned into a badger.
So we'll see what happens.
I was more interested in my version.
Okay, Wednesday. This is one you've got to see. Comes out nationwide. The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. It is,
which we've already seen, but we'll talk about it next week.
Yes, but I'm just gonna say it's hilarious. Okay, coming out Thursday, limited release. If you find it near you, something called The Father's Legacy. Don't know. Okay, now coming out Friday, nationwide, 12 Mighty Orphans. It's the true story of the Mighty Mites football team from Fort Worth.
That's the screener I have.
Okay, during the Great Depression.
That's what I was saying. It's got Lane Garrison in it.
Oh, well, we're going to watch that. I love Lane Garrison. We'll get into the story next week of why we love Lane Garrison, but you just need to watch it. The other big one probably coming out on Disney Plus and also Disney Plus only.
They did like Soul, which has pissed off a lot of people.
Only. The movie Luca. It's about these two little boys who we see in the trailer we think might be mermaids
or something.
We'll see. It looks cute. Coming out on Netflix, Fatherhood. It stars Lil Rel. So
Kevin
I'm in.
Kevin Hart's the star of it.
Oh, well, it says Lil Rel, Kevin Hart, Paul Reiser, who's now older.
My God, if you watch The Kaminsky Method, Paul Reiser is unrecognizable in that. So he's big, and he's got a ponytail, and he's old, and I was like, she used to have...
I did not.
You did too. Tell me you had a dream about him one time.
I have a dream about so many different people. She
had one of those kind of dreams about Paul Reiser.
Oh my. Anyways, Alfre Woodard,
which is all funnier now when I see it.
I know he's so old. It's gonna be good. Okay, these
when
are
she
all
told me about that dream. It wasn't near as hilarious because it's still young Paul Reiser. But
that's gonna be interesting. Limited. Okay, on video demand and digital, guys. A movie called Les Nôtres. Don't know. It's about this high school girl, but nobody realizes she's pregnant, and some other secrets come out. The limited.
That one.
This one?
Yeah, that's that documentary.
But it's limited release right now.
Okay,
well, we're going to talk about it. A documentary on Rita Moreno. You've got to see it. It's called Just a Girl Who Decided to Go For It. We're excited about it. We'll be watching it this week, and we'll talk to you about it next time. All right.
That's pretty much it. And this month is a big, big, big movie month as one of the biggest hits of the year already. And it hadn't even opened in the U.S. yet. Will be the week after with the new Fast and Furious film. So we'll be starting a marathon of that soon.
I'm excited.
But that movie has already racked up well over $100 million dollars overseas and hasn't even opened here yet. So it's already like the first.
People like their Fast and Furious.
It's the first major hit in a while.
Good.
But do you know what the first movie, I believe it's the first movie domestically to break $100 million already?
What?
Since the pandemic has started?
What?
A Quiet Place 2. It has broken the
That's
100
because
million
it's
mark.
good.
It broke a 100 million mark, and it's the first one that since the pandemic
it's a good movie.
Reopens to finally break over 100.
And I realize Fast and Furious is going to probably be ridiculous. I don't even care.
Especially when Vin Diesel just did a news article saying that he's going to be done with the franchise, probably retire from the franchise after the next 2 movies. Because they're shooting another one over at
Oh my
gosh. Or whatever. So anyway, go ahead.
All right.
Shoot the plug, sister.
That's it. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Make sure you go find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. They tried to take our YouTube away, and that didn't work.
We didn't tell
We're
about the
back.
contest.
Oh, tell me about the
We're gonna do it really
contest.
fast.
I just put it up on the screen. Go to the contest page.
Oh, yeah, I canceled it. Let me pop right up real quick.
No, it's
Sorry
right
about
here.
that. She did her plug, so I'll do the contest, and I was dealing with the hounds that are going crazy under the table here. If you can deal with that while I'm dealing with this.
I got it.
We still got a couple of copies of Mission Impossible Anniversary Edition that we give away. Undercover Punch and Gun that we just talked about today. We got copies of that to give away. The Tomb Raider 2 movie collection on 4K. We got a couple of those left. Godzilla vs. Kong that comes out this week. A big exciting. We got a Blu-ray for that one. The Courier with Benedict Cumberbatch. You know what they call his fans?
What?
Cumberbitches.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
And finally, Supernatural Season 15, the final season. We got copies of that giveaway. And there's a couple other ones that are fixing to pop up that we'll be adding out. And so these will be ending finally. So just get your entries in and join us back here next week for an all-new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. And any other things that may be popped up, go to our YouTube page. Look out for all the trailers and the fun and the nonsense. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Talk to you then. Bye.
Peace and love.